what's going on, guys and gals? And welcome to Good Reel Hunting. We're up for the good reels so you don't have to. It's your boy Brad. Brett over here, and Chris is underneath. The time has finally come. We've been waiting for years now for this movie, No Time to Die, to come out. It has finally been released. We've all seen it, and we have not talked about it together yet, so this is actually going to be our first time doing so, and we are going to be talking heavy spoilers about the movie. So if you have not seen it yet, be sure to not watch this yet. Go watch the movie in IMAX or the biggest screen you can find, and come back and watch this video afterwards because we're going to be having some fun. Of course, if you have not seen our Bond reviews yet up to this point for Craig's, we have done all of those from Casino Royale to Spectre. A link for those will be over Brett's head over there, so check those out as well. And we're ready to get freaking rocking and rolling here today with a No Time to Die.
And if you are curious about a review of sorts, they said this video, Brad did a non-spoiler review, and which it spoils nothing. So if you want to check that out before to check the movie, you absolutely can. Which I'll go ahead and post a link to it now.
Yeah, that was a tough one, man, because I really didn't want to spoil anything, so I was very vague, but I really wanted to talk a lot of details. Now is going to be our opportunity to do so, and I'm excited about it, man.
Hey, freaking let loose, Daddy. And real quickly, viewer discretion is advised. I want to go ahead and just say, Chris, fuck you. You promised me a katana sword, and there were no fucking katana swords.
You know what, man? I think that was the only thing that I got wrong. I did say that he was going to die. Well, I think I said Madeline Swan was going to die. But I did say he had a kid. I fucking nailed it. I knew that shit. I was so...
The Jamaican kid.
Yeah, well, he was in Jamaica for a bit there. He was living there, you know, and had a kid.
That's where the kid was conceived. But.
So that's the funny part is when we did this. So I saw this movie a little bit earlier than these guys, and then we recorded the Spectre movie review between me seeing it and them seeing No Time to Die. And in the Spectre review, Chris says, "Yeah, he's going to go to Jamaica and father a freaking child," and spoiled the shit out of it for anybody who watched that review. So I knew there wouldn't be too many people watched it. So I just I bit my tongue. I couldn't tell these guys they spoiled it, you know, because they would have been spoiled. And then I was like, you know, I'll just risk it. Maybe people will just, you know, let that fly right under the radar. And that's what happened. But yeah, I mean, that sure as hell that happened, man. So, but yeah, man, I mean, what'd you guys think about this bad boy, man? There's a lot to freaking tackle in this.
God, I can't believe they had the balls to kill him. You know what? I want to say that up front. Hopefully nobody made it through to this point. Hasn't seen it, but I can't believe they had the balls to kill him off and do it the right way, man. It was such a fun ride, such an appropriate ending. I had hella fun with it, man.
Hey, and before we continue, get your drinks out, fellas.
Yes, for Bond.
For Bond.
Oh yeah, to James.
Dr. Pepper. Yeah, to James. Yes, that's it. Sorry. Yeah, man. So we're gonna go ahead and nip that in the bud, I guess. I mean, yeah, that was nuts. I did not see that coming. I know. I've seen a lot of reviews for this movie. I've seen a lot of reviews say that this movie wasn't bold or didn't take any chances. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about, dude? They killed off a character. Yeah, they killed off a character that's been through 25 movies now, and they did so. I mean, I didn't think it was going to happen. We joked at it, you know, in a couple of our discussion videos prior to this coming out. I didn't think they would ever have the balls to do it. And honestly, it's such a perfect send-off for Craig because what else are you going to do with this character? You can't follow up these movies and just recast and keep following the same storyline. That's not going to work. They've used Craig's age as a story plot line, you know, in every single one of these movies. And he's progressed so much as a character. There's no other way to go about this franchise going forward other than rebooting it. So what else? I mean, you're not going to just recast the role at this point. So and
storyline going right. So I mean, this is the only way, and it's such a nice it caps everything off. And it's nice to have some finality to his character arc through these 5 films. It's nice to see it come to like a real conclusion, you know, not like infinitely, you know, dragging it on or what have you, or just kind of like, oh, he drives the DB5 off into the sunset or whatever, and then suddenly, you know, whoever's going to play it next comes in and you're not going to follow the same storyline. So you could reboot it that way, I guess, but this just felt so right. You guys feel that way? Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, actually it really did. And when I saw James Bond died, I'm like, well, the title of the movie is called No Time to Die. And I thought he was going to pull a one-liner going, I ain't got time to die. No, I'm just kidding. But no, But no,
Come on now,
seriously.
Madeline. This is no time to die.
But no, hey, Pierce Brosnan would have said a line like that. But no, seriously, guys, this one caught me way off guard because when it happened, like when Bond died, I could have sworn I'm like, okay, it's okay. We talked about the whole Batman comparisons. We're going to get a little Dark Knight Rises where he's just like, he died if he's going to pop up somewhere and it's like, hey, I'm still alive. And then when they finally do the for James thing, I'm like, oh shit, they actually did it. And then I saw Swan and the daughter were driving. I'm like, oh, this is where Bond's going to drive up right beside them and just everything's going to be okay, happily ever after. Nope, we didn't get that either. So I'm like, well, son of a bitch, they killed the
post-credit scene.
They killed them. Yeah, like no, I stay for the post-credit scene too, just as hear like a little like Michael Myers mask breathing or just something. But no, I was actually, like you all said, it's a perfect conclusion. Like there's nowhere else to go with Daniel Craig's Bond and that particular character with his character arc. So he needed a proper conclusion, and I felt like that was it. Go out with a bang.
Yeah, it's perfect for him, man. It's absolutely, and going out with a bang is actually in my spoiler-free review. I actually said the word Craig's goes out in the bang. I wish I still had the footage. And then I thought about it. You could see me just visibly think about it. I'm like, maybe I shouldn't say that. I don't know. But I didn't mean it in the sense that he actually does go out in the bang, but he did. But anyway, yeah, I mean, I think it's absolutely perfect because, I mean, it's a great arc for him, man. You start off Casino Royale. Obviously, he's got the ego out the ass in that movie. He feels invincible. Nobody can touch him. He does what he wants to do in that movie. And, he falls for Vesper. That gets chaotic and he gets fucked there big time. And so he's never going to, open his heart up again to anybody else. And, of course, Miss Swan comes along and he does. And the way he dies I think is fantastic. Is not just that he dies, but he dies because he can no longer be with the people that he loves. He's like, I'm not going to fucking bother fighting through this and getting off this island because what's the point of living at this point? You know what I mean? I'm just going to go back. I want to save the world while I do it, of course, but there's no reason for me to continue life at this point because everything that I've grown to love is not within my grasp anyway. So I might as well give my life up for the world at this point. And I think that's perfect, man.
Yeah, and Daniel Craig sold that scene amazing. I feel like that out of the entire Bond franchise, for Daniel Craig's Bond, I feel like that was the best acting I've seen Daniel Craig did. He sold the shit out of that last act with selling the emotion and all that, and with Swan too and her. I thought that was just perfectly executed, and I'm a guy, but I felt fucking emotions with the tear coming.
Yeah, I mean, I think we all felt something there. So we were kind of joking about the other night, man. I mean, I think we were all fighting it back. But yeah, there was a lot of people crying in the theater that I was in, man. I was like, is this a Bond movie? What the fuck?
Right, I know.
I mean, so
you don't expect that.
I think that tells you right there that it's they did something right. But to speak about Daniel Craig there for a bit, I think that it not just in the third act, man. I thought he slayed this thing. Him and what is her name?
Leah Seydoux.
Yeah. I think she fucking killed it. And we're talking kind of in the Spectre review how she was kind of underused there. And I think that her character really was outstanding in this, her acting especially.
Yeah, they fixed that issue immediately.
Yeah.
She really stood out, man. A gripping performance that, makes you feel every bit of emotional, all kinds of emotional ways throughout the movie. And particularly there at the end, man, she's really a critical part to that as well. And, just that little bit of dialogue when Bond's talking to her as he's about to get exploded. It was great, and he finds a little bit of solace in the fact that, he knows the daughter's his, he knows that. And he finds a little bit of solace in that and a little bit of happiness before he goes. And and it's all, Madeline is helping out with that, and she, I mean, this movie did great things for her character too. I mean, this movie starts off not with Bond doing crazy shit, but with her life story that she teased about in the Spectre movie, when they're riding on the train. So I think that opening was awesome, just to let her be fleshed out a little bit more too.
Yeah. And then she was going to show Bond something else, and Bond goes, "It better not be another kid." So, like, again, like, this Bond movie has great one-liners, but yeah, Madeline Swan was a very strong character. Normally for Bond girls, they really always rely on James to save them. But they showed her extremely capable of protecting herself and her daughter, and they really showed that on screen. And Madeline was just a joy to watch, and I feel like she did a phenomenal job in this movie.
Yeah, I think the acting all around was great, man. It was good to see Jeffrey Wright come back as Felix Leiter. I thought that he was. I know, man. I couldn't believe that. I was super surprised that he died. But nevertheless, I thought that it was nice to see him come back. He's always been one of my favorite characters in the Craig era. I always just every time he pops up, it's just a lot of fun. So I thought it was nice to see him back. Yeah, but the acting all around was phenomenal. Lashana Lynch did a great job. I thought coming in as the new 007, and yeah, man, everybody was top notch.
For Lynch, with her being 007, I feel like that's the perfect way to introduce kind of like Bond as being a girl. Which, that's a whole big discussion right now. Should 007 be a girl? This movie got away with it because she got to play 007 or like fulfill the role 007. And I thought she did a great job too between her and Daniel Craig. Their bantering was perfectly flowed. It wasn't forced or anything. So I thought she did a really great job in this movie as well.
It was great too to see the dynamic between the two of them. Like you can see that Bond actually respects her as a partner, and it doesn't just see her as a another woman or whatever. Like we've seen so many times before where they end up shacking up or whatever. He actually respects her as a counterpart and a partner. And obviously at the beginning they have the little rivalry, but once they kind of start teaming up and stuff, he's got a lot of respect for her, and that that they can work together as a team to make this goal happen. And she ended up being, a critical part in getting there, Yeah.
The only real shame was that we didn't get more back shots of her.
Yeah. Come here, Chris.
Sorry, man. I'm sorry. No, the whole time I was like, we've got to get an ass shot in here.
But
I'll tell you the first thing you took off.
Hey, I'll tell you what kind of shot we did get was the freaking front shot in that beautiful dress of
Ana de Armas.
Yeah. She is easily the most underrated character in this movie, and she stole the damn show. And that's the part I almost like. If there is a negative to this movie, it would be that I wanted so much more for her, and like her to be in this movie versus her being in that little segment. I was extremely disappointed because she, out of every new character, knocked it out of the damn park.
Yeah, and I think the audience is clamoring for more of her too, man. Overall,
spinoff, man, spinoff.
I think everybody loved that character in that whole little scene. If that dress, I mean, obviously it was taped to her chest because those titties would have been clean out of there, buddy. If that was, so the logic police have to come in and write a little citation there because in real life, those titties come straight out of there. But that was so much fun, and I really love her as an actress. Did you guys see the fucking video of her doing like training? I mean, she's like this, she's like super tiny, and there's the training videos where she's actually like firing the gun, and actually like all those fight scenes are really her.
It's really badass, man.
Yeah. See, I even love her now. I love her more now. Better, and easily this is her best performance I've ever seen her versus Knock Knock.
Yeah, yeah, I mean that's not one of her good performances. Knives Out, she's great in Knives Out. She's also really good. My favorite probably is Blade Runner 2049. She plays like a robot of sorts and
a fembot.
Yeah, kind of. And she's like a digital girlfriend or something. I don't know. You guys need to watch it for real. But she kills in that. So I want to see her get. I hope that they do a spinoff or that she gets like a lead in something because she's just a terrific actress.
The CIA angle is kind of nice too. It's a different, obviously it's getting away from the MI6 thing a little bit and moving over to CIA, and I think that would be fun for a spinoff. To go a little bit of a different route, just to have some fun, I guess. I don't know, to be different. But I think what's great about not only was she kicking ass in the action sequences, but she was such a charming character, she was just so like, oh, I'm happy to be here and all this, like 4 weeks of training. And she just seemed like she almost seemed excited just to be working with James Bond, Yeah. And I love that about her, man. She was such a joy.
Yeah, it's definitely a joy, and I really do hope she gets a spinoff. Just because, I'll be honest with you, I feel like with this entire movie, they didn't know that she was going to take off like the way that she is, of like everybody loving her and all that. I guarantee you that we're going to get a spinoff with her. I guarantee it right now. For the record, she's going to get her spinoff.
Well, let me ask, didn't Amazon, I could be mistaken, didn't Amazon buy
Yes.
MGM? Okay, so I'm thinking that's probably going to be like a series or something. I mean,
And
still
I
be
will be
yeah, it
floored.
would still be
Like,
hella
I will
fun.
love
But,
that idea.
a big point for me that I know we talked about in the discussion video a little bit there is kind of like I love Cary Fukunaga as a director. He's done some amazing shit, but I was worried about the action in this one. Like, he hadn't done huge action set pieces and things like that. And in some of the trailers, if I'm honest, I was worried, especially like the forest scene was going to be like over the top with the CGI. It seemed that way in the trailer. Like, oh God, like when the car flips and he chases it with the gun. I was like, it's kind of over the top, almost like Spectre level kind of shit. But after seeing it, man, that not only did that sequence not it was completely sold, the CGI wasn't over the top, but I think all the action, the direction in general, I think was absolutely phenomenal in this whole thing.
Yeah. And I love how you just brought up the action, because that stairwell scene where it was that one continuous like shot was so bad ass. I fell in love with it, and just all of it to be like that one single take, it's just phenomenal. It was perfect, like very well directed. Like that's probably my favorite action scene in the entire movie.
Yeah, it was awesome. I love seeing those kinds of scenes, and we kind of talked about it in our first prediction video a little bit, a year ago, that that could be something they would do to bring this kind of more modern, because you see that a lot in action movies these days. It's a trend for sure that's been going on since Atomic Blonde did a huge sequence, and then obviously 1917 was the whole movie, which that one
and
obviously
Extraction, I believe, with Chris Hemsworth at Netflix.
Totally.
Yeah, that one had a really good one.
Let's not forget Cary Joji Fukunaga's True Detective had an amazing sequence. And
that one may be honestly the most impressive. Like, it's hard to find the cuts in that one, and I think it's like 4.5 minutes long or something. It's a long one.
Yeah, it's fantastic, and I was glad to see, because they haven't really done anything like that in Bond before. They did the one take opening in Spectre, but there wasn't really any action in that. It was just a tracking shot of Bond, doing his thing, which was very impressive. Still awesome, but they haven't really done that in the action sequences in the franchise at any point. So I love to see that. It wasn't a huge sequence. It was it was relatively short compared to some standards, but it was still fantastic, and it really did a good job of bringing it in there.
And I think from a technical standpoint, even though that it's shorter, I think that one, with as much movement as there is going up and down the stairs, and as much like hand-to-hand combat is there, and like I'm just thinking of in terms of like rehearsing that shit and finding and having, because you have to rehearse it. The camera has to move behind someone's back at a very specific point in order for it to be like to cut at the right time and things like that. So I think that even though it may be a little bit shorter, that one was probably the most complex. Probably
not to mention, part of that is the main fight with the main henchman, the Cyclops guy. That's kind of the finale of that, which is a big part of the movie. Going back to the little forest scene you're talking about, I thought that looked absolutely stunning. That was a very memorable scene from the. It's going to be a memorable scene in the franchise. I think the way you could see the bullets flying through the fog and everything, and it caps off with what's his name? The bad guy, the CIA guy that turned on him.
Billy Magnuson. That dude has one of the most punchable faces I've ever seen. I don't want to take anything away from him as an actor, because I think he sells being a douchebag really well. But does he not just you just want to punch that motherfucker, man?
5 times.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
But yeah, whenever he grabs the car and then flips it down on him and tells him that he had a brother, and all that shit. Yeah.
Which was a callback. Honestly, it's fantastic to see that more brutal side of Craig again. We haven't seen in a couple movies now, where he's just ruthless and just fucking doesn't give any fucks. But it's also to me, I kind of saw it as a callback to For Your Eyes Only, when Roger Moore showed a little bit of coldness for really the only time in his tenure. That he's in a car on the cliff and he's sitting there, and Roger's like, "Fuck you," and he kicks him off. He kicks the car and it pushes it off. It's kind of a callback to that, which was pretty brilliant, I thought.
Yeah, and there's a little bit of a Timothy Dalton attitude towards him as well. Speaking of which, towards the end of that forest scene, what do y'all think about the big bad guy?
Ooh, Rami.
You talking about Lucifer, Satan? Basically. Yeah, I thought he did a really great job. I love Rami as an actor, but he got kind of cartoonish at some point for me during times, but I liked it overall. What do you guys think?
I thought the performance was really good by Rami. I thought he did a really good job with feeling menacing and intimidating. And I think the character itself was a little bit underdeveloped, but it really wasn't about him. At the end of the day, this movie, again, kind of like Casino Royale, it's about Bond and Madeline and their story and capping that off. He was just there to kind of move that along. So I don't have any issues with it. I think for what he was asked to do, he did a really good job. And he, to me, I liked, when he was on screen, he was intimidating.
Yeah, and especially when him and Bond had that big confrontation towards in the third act, that was very unsettling because that this guy, you know what he's capable of. Like, he freaking hijacked a ultimate project, for crying out loud. Like, it killed millions and millions of people. So just what he could do in that little particular scene was very nerve-wracking for me. And I thought he did a phenomenal job with that character for what he was allowed to do. Is he the best Daniel Craig Bond villain? I would probably say he's the third. If we're going to be doing a mini ranking on that, I would put him at number 3. I
agree. I concur.
Yeah, you're right. It really wasn't about him, and I like the performance. Yeah, the character was just the best parts about it was that he wasn't over the top violent. It was more like there at the end. It was more about how he saw himself as a real counterpoint to Bond. You know what I mean? And he was like, it really wasn't about I'm here to intimidate you or destroy you or whatever. And I think that he sold that. He was. I don't know. Did you guys feel that way? I mean,
he's kind of like, hey, I'm just trying to get my good old classic revenge on Madeline Swan, and you're just in the way. I don't want to destroy you, but I will if I have to.
Yeah,
and that is exactly what happened.
Yeah, it's more about I wish that you could understand me and what I'm trying to do here more than it is I'm solely here to fucking ruin your life or take you down or what have you. It's more of, understand this and piss off. You know what I mean?
And that and we talked about in that discussion, we kind of hope that this Bond villain wasn't personally attached to Bond, kind of like how Blofeld was, and he really wasn't in this one, and that is super refreshing, and I did enjoy the villain a lot.
He kind of, because he wasn't attached to anybody outside of just Blofeld, which I did kind of like that aspect too, of him being a rival of Blofeld more so than anything, and Blofeld being his way into this. I like that. I thought he was written in pretty well with that, and I think it opens up the world a little bit. Up until this point, everybody's been somewhat related, closely knit to each other. Silva being M's past protege, and Blofeld being Bond's half brother. At this point, Safin comes in here and expands it. I think it makes the world open up a little bit. With everybody being so closely related to each other, it made this universe seem kind of small, and without the ability to stretch his legs and open up. But when you add him in, I think he does a pretty good job of opening things up. And also, the dialogue I thought was written pretty well. He's got some great quotes talking to Bond at the end. We both eradicate people. I just want to be a little bit tighter. I didn't deliver it the same way, but I thought that the whole little bit of dialogue there was really good. And everything he was saying, it sounded good. I like the way it was written.
Honestly, the most intimidating scene and my favorite of his is actually when he goes to visit Madeline Swan at the it goes to see her as a patient or whatever, and and hands her the gift, which is that mask.
Yes,
from when she was a child and he rescued her and all that. That I thought was his most intimidating. He slayed. He was chewing on the furniture in that. I mean, he was it was awesome.
I love that. And on second watch, I noticed that I didn't notice it the first time through. But obviously, we find out later in the movie that he picks up, one of her hair follicles or whatever. And at that point in the office is when he does that, in which I didn't notice the first time I watched it. But going back and watching it again, you can see him doing that and putting it in his pocket.
Yeah, I'm surprised you didn't see that. I noticed that immediately because I'm like, oh, that shit's going to play in a factor later on in the movie. And damn it certainly did.
Yeah, I just didn't think anything of it, man, because at that point it was before we really knew what his weapon was about and stuff. So, but yeah, it's definitely noticeable on second time through.
Yeah, and I remember, and last note on him, I know we kind of discussed that one of our predictions was he was going to turn out to be Dr. No. He did not turn out to be Dr. No, but he did kind of share the same characteristics a little bit as Dr. No about being smart, and then his freaking compound was kind of like controlling some chemicals, kind of like what Dr. No did. So like the comparisons are still there, but he is definitely not Dr. No.
There was some similarities with, people wearing the hazmat suits and stuff and playing around in juices and things like that. But
as I like to do on Saturdays.
But yeah, I mean, it very clearly wasn't. But I did love going back to Dr. No. The Jamaica callbacks were great. The house he was staying at in Jamaica looks very reminiscent of that Connery was staying at in Dr. No.
If I have to trade away internet for an entire week to stay where Bond stayed at, I would easily do it.
Yeah, fuck yeah, dude. I would get rid of internet forever to stay there, man. You kidding me?
And I think that's a great segue into something that I wanted to talk about. But before I do that, I wanted to second what you said about about the world, this universe feeling very small. And I know we I hit on an Inspector in the review we did for that. And whenever I said, if we get to No Time to Die and it's just another layer, you see that is related to Quantum, which is then, run by Spectre. And then I was like, if this is just another like layer, like another umbrella, if you will, then I'm going to hate it right off the bat. So I'm so glad that they went against the grain. And like you said, had Safin actually be more of a rival to Blofeld than a henchman or gone rogue or something like that. So I just wanted to second that.
What if Bond was running around the compound at the end and there's just more pictures of fucking Spectre people up on the walls, and this time they added...
Dude, I would have been like, you know what? I don't even care. Whatever, blow this whole thing up. I don't give a shit. Like, it's all just, you can't just keep going and going. Like Safin's his second cousin or something like that. More family shit. I was like, but we're talking about Jamaica and the house that he's staying at, and how I just want to talk about how well the cinematography, really, how well everything was shot. Like the feeling of each location is just phenomenal, and I love the opening sequence in the snow and the ice and all that, and how right after the intro it cuts to the guys walking down the side of the building there. What do you call that? Rappelling or whatever the fuck it is. They're coming down the building there, and you see like the purple kind of skyline in the background. Man, I just the cinematography all around.
Shit. Yeah, siege shit.
Yeah, and the whatever they're doing, siege shit. Yeah, and in the forest scene, I mean, it was just all phenomenal, dude. The cinematography was just great in this thing, and that goes hand in hand with the direction. But Jesus, it was awesome. A lot of beautiful shots in there.
You pretty much nailed it right there. The cinematography is fantastic. Anytime you're going to do a snow scene, you're going to easily win me over, because I love looking at the snow in the big cinema. And just to start, and I love that too with the opening too. We get the good old classic Bond opening with the bullet and all that, and the pew. Instead of the blood running down, we actually went inside of the barrel into the thing. And I thought that was one of the best transition shots I've ever seen in a Bond movie.
Yeah, that sky shot coming on into Rami walking through the woods, man. That was great.
Oh, dude. Coming from that gun. It was just phenomenal.
Yeah, all that shit was great, man. And then, of course, I know something you guys want to talk about and hit on, because you know a little bit more about it than I do. But the score was phenomenal. I can speak to it in the sense that I think that it served the story so well, and it keeps you in there, and it's suspenseful when it needs to. It's emotional when it needs to be. So I think they killed it. But you guys can go a little bit deeper into the callbacks and things.
Oh yeah, Brad's going to go very, deep in there, but I want to get my
Wow,
two.
buddy.
I just want to get my 2 cents in there real quick. What's the first thing I texted you guys when I walked out of that theater?
Hans Zimmer's a
Hans
fucking
Zimmer.
legend.
It's a fucking legend. But no, guys, like, holy shit. This is not only the best Bond score I've ever listened to, but this is the best Hans Zimmer score I've listened to. To me, this has officially cemented his legacy as the best score person in cinema history. I just loved it because every score had a purpose. It intrigued you, it pulled you in, like emotionally and or actiony. Like, it's just so damn good. And of course, with "No Time to Die" by Billie Eilish, absolutely love her song in this. And I will actually say this: it's my number 2 favorite Bond theme of all time.
It's up there, man. If we were to do a ranking, which we probably will do at some point, I would have this for Craig's movies. It would be my number 2. It would be my number
Craig
2.
for number 2 for me as well,
Yeah,
and that's
followed
surprising.
only by Spectre by Radiohead, which is obviously everyone's number 1. Don't get me fucking started.
You're so sour about that.
Okay, let's talk about Hans Zimmer for a minute. I would not necessarily put this as my favorite Hans Zimmer score to date. I think he's had so many good ones, not that this one's bad, but for a Bond movie, I think this is fantastic. He does what he does here, and he takes this movie to the next level. I think one thing that was kind of missing for the last 2 movies was a great score. In Skyfall, it was decent. It was solid. And Spectre completely ripped it off and did it all over again. Nothing original to it. So for this, it was nice to see a completely new take on the score. And he did take it next level like he always does. Hans always does that. So it was great to see. But what I loved about the score the most is the callbacks, right? So, like, if you haven't seen On Her Majesty's Secret Service, this movie is free callbacks to that movie, and it's very heavy in the score. Starting at the very beginning, in the first 5 minutes of the movie, when Bond and Madeline are driving, down the road, the track's called Matera, I believe, Matera. It's where they're at in Italy at that point. They're driving down the roadway there, and Bond looks over. She's like, "Hey, go faster!" And he looks over and he says, "Oh, we don't need to go faster. We have all the time in the world." That quote alone is a callback to On Her Majesty's Secret Service. That's how the movie ends, with him saying that in that movie. So that alone is a callback. But then it starts playing the music all the time in the world. That was a heavy, a soundtrack, and it was heavily in the soundtrack of that movie as well at that point as they're driving. So I thought that was a great callback. And then later in the movie, you get the actual On Her Majesty's Secret Service theme by John Barry. It's whenever Bond and M are meeting up outside on the little walkway by the Thames River, and they're getting their plans together. It plays it very subtly in the background there, which is, again, one of my favorite themes in the whole Bond franchise. John Barry was the GOAT. He invented the theme, the James Bond theme, and then that song for that movie was great. It was a little bit updated, but it was fantastic. I've been waiting on them to bring that back since, and they did, and it was beautiful, absolutely awesome. But yeah, the new stuff, the theme that Safin gets and the bad guys is great. The way they do, there's a sequence, there's a few times in the movie they play a little bit of the Bond theme, but it's kind of slowed down. It's like
yes.
Yeah, it's like you know what I'm talking about.
It only happens with Bond and Madeline. We're on screen together towards the second and third act.
Well, yeah, that one they played. It was like a different version of Billie Eilish's theme. A scored version of that, which sounded really good. But they played some really good slowed down Bond theme music at a few times. Once in Cuba, actually the stairwell sequence I think was another time, and then there was once more. Actually, when they're escaping the square at the beginning in the car. Yeah, I wish we could play it, but we can't because of copyright reasons. But it's a very good piece of music.
Unfortunately, yeah, I'm not even going to attempt it. But
yeah, it sounds great. Some of the stuff they did with the original theme is outstanding. But the music at the end, when he's about to get exploded, very emotional music, very good. And I mean, it really pulls you in, and it's outstanding, man.
Even the there's a piece they play whenever Lashana Lynch and Bond are in the Safin's lair there at the end. There's this really tense sort of piece that's playing that's sort of chopped up and really grabs you and pulls you in. That I really enjoyed that little bit there at the end as well. Thought that was really cool.
Just one more thing is kind of going back with the callbacks, the end credit sequence of this movie. Again, Bond says again at the end of the movie, you have all the time in the world. Again, a callback to earlier in the movie, and also on Her Majesty's Secret Service. But then the end credits music is All the Time in the World by Louis Armstrong, which plays end credits for On Her Majesty's Secret Service as well. And I thought that was a great choice. It's fantastic. And they also play briefly whenever he's visiting Vesper's grave, it plays her music from Casino Royale in there too, which is a nice.
And that is a great little nod to Vesper, and to finally conclude that part of Daniel Craig's Bond's character too. I thought that was a nice send off.
Something I forgot to bring up too. The cinematography in Italy is fucking great, dude.
Yes,
the action there when he's jumping, he grabs even when he runs behind the rock and the car ramps over him, and it's like the first time that he's like sort of been in action, in a long while, and he's kind of stands up and the guy starts shooting at him and he's like, fuck, I really got to do this, don't I? Like, of course, this is where this is going to lead to. So the whole bit there in Italy was really fun. Not that there's too many downsides or too many negative things about this. I liked that they brought an end to the whole Spectre thing. And I love the scene with Blofeld. Got extreme Silence of the Lambs vibes.
Yes.
With them bringing him out, in the little cage. And
that was crazy too, man.
I know. That whole scene is the anticipation.
The music too.
Him out. Yeah. Of course, adds to it. And I just love that whole sequence there. But whenever they go to the little guy that gets abducted in the right there at the beginning, and then he recodes everything, to kind of take out the Spectre people. I'm kind of, and maybe I missed something. Like I was just so much in forward momentum with the story that it was something I wasn't paying attention to there. How was it exactly that Blofeld was able to orchestrate that meeting or whatever, what have you?
With the eyeball, just because like they were,
he didn't have a fucking eyeball.
Well, no, like he was going into that eyeball of Blofeld's, and it like showed everything that Bond did with De Armas in that whole sequence where Spectre fallen.
I don't know how,
because they were trying to figure out a name of the big bad guy, and they thought Blofeld knew it, and they went to the eyeball with the archives and everything he sees, because like they were trying to figure out how Blofeld got to that meeting, and that's how he did with that eyeball. That's what I got.
But we never see Blofeld with the eyeball, so are we under the impression?
Because you got to remember, Am told them to remove it from him so they can look at it.
Okay, so that was the part there that I was missing then.
Yeah, it's just like a small detail because, again, like you were saying, you were focusing on the main story, because I did that on other parts of the movie too, but that one I do remember them because I was curious how they were going to use his eyeball.
So the Cyclops guy has an eye, and then Blofeld has an eye, and they sort of communicate. Is that what
that's what I got out of it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because
Brad, you've seen it twice. Is that a pretty?
I want to know what fucking Wi-Fi service they were using, because they had they were so intersync. But
yeah, they weren't freezing up at all, dude. Can you imagine being in the middle of that meeting and they're like, "I'm sorry, Chief. What are you trying to say there, dude? You're freezing up."
It's like damn charter, man.
Yeah, I think
I don't know what Blofeld's deal is. This is all the footage we've got from his room, and it's just him pacing back and forth, going, "Fuck you, Charter. Fuck you, Charter."
And I even tried Verizon and 5G, but it keeps on telling me I have 4G. But anyways, Brad, what were you about to say?
I liked I like that they brought him back, and they killed him off too, which is another surprise. I didn't see that coming either. Really, I mean, I guess it makes sense, but because he I don't know, I just didn't expect him to go, but he did. And I thought that was a good sequence as well. The only thing his fake eye looked, you could tell that CGI was there. That was really the only moment of CGI that stood out for me, was when they were sitting there talking to him.
It wasn't as bad as Javier Bardem's teeth.
Oh no. Yeah,
that's the worst CGI in the whole thing. They should have cut that out.
But no, it did take you out of the movie, though. But yeah, it was there, but it wasn't so bad where it just really distracted you, though.
No, it's not too bad, man. I mean, it's serviceable. It's fine. I just don't know why they chose to freaking do these crazy close-ups whenever they couldn't fucking nail that. I don't know, but either way, it's not a big deal. It's just a nitpick. It's nothing crazy. But yeah, I'm glad.
Blofeld was a badass. Like I liked him a lot. I could tell just for his little sing alone, he was a lot better than entire Spectre.
Yeah, he was solid, man. He did a good job. I love that sequence. That's another good moment of acting from Leia too, Madeline. Whenever she totally freaks out in there as he's coming in on the freaking little roller cart thing, whatever the fuck that was. But that thing was cool though, man. That was like another like just a classic kind of Bond moment for me. Just it's a little bit extra and stuff and and whatnot, but it works for the franchise and I love that. But yeah, that was cool and the music that plays was really intimidating and Leia freaking out really added to it as well.
Yeah, and talk about Bondfield real quick. That chase scene, we get a classic Bond car chase scene, and a lot of things we don't see with the Daniel Craig Bond era is the gadgets. And in this one, we definitely got the car gadgets, and that was so much fun to watch.
Oh yeah,
like, the little machine gun, the fog machine, and what those little things that like little bombs or that popped out or something that popped the tires or exploded.
Yeah.
It was all of it was just badass. Yeah. That was like a big like nod to past Bond technologies. Even though I feel like for this Bond Daniel Craig era, they did a really great job not to really dive into that. The full like the little toyish gadget technology, and they try and make Bond like really realistic with like his like gadgets, like with the gun and all that. But like in this one, it worked. It was so much fun to watch.
It's too bad they didn't give him a sheep horn on there.
Or a katana sword.
Sheep horn, yeah.
I'm sorry, Bert. I really thought that was going to come true, dude. Of all the
if that happened in Halloween Kills Her, I'm going to be pissed.
We're getting this at some point here soon. I swear to God.
That's definitely going to happen there. Yeah, but yeah, I really enjoyed that sequence at the beginning with the car. I thought, especially whenever they start to shoot it, and Bond's like, I don't even know what I'm doing. Like, I'm not going to fucking even bother fighting at this point. And then you can kind of see him spinning his wheels in his head, and then he spins his wheel in reality. But he's just like, okay, here we go. Let's do this.
I think at the time that, and I actually really dug that scene because you could tell that in the moment he's like, I've been betrayed again. I'm over this shit. Like I thought I left this life behind, and now this broad is like dragging me back into it again. And so he's just like, fuck it. I'm just gonna sit here and let these fuckers kill us both. And and then I really think that it's not really like him wanting like, oh, I have to win. It's more of like, okay, whatever. I just got to get out of here and get her, get her to safety and get the fuck out of here and get on with my life. That really kind of drives him to do that.
And fake my own death again. Like, holy hell. Like Bond is really good at faking his death in this particular franchise of the Bond era. Like, because he faked his death really damn good in Skyfall. And he really did it because even M's like, damn, you went so low where we actually thought you were dead.
You think they poured a drink out for him then too? Like, you think they did the for James thing at that point as well?
I don't think so because I felt like M kind of sort of knew that he was still alive, but he didn't worry about it, so he just moved on and just you know what. Freaking let M be the main bad guy in this movie. He was the reason that Bond died. So fuck you, M.
I did like the dynamic at the beginning of the movie when you couldn't really trust anybody. Like M, you couldn't trust M, you couldn't trust 007. Nomi, of course. Really, you could maybe trust Felix, but that was about it. And
I probably would have trusted her right off the bat.
I didn't think that was going to be the first thing you took off. But yeah, I did really like that kind of.
Her fucking wig. She's fucking hot, dude. She was awesome. I wish that I wouldn't mind at all if they did a whole the next series and did it with a girl and made her the lead. It wouldn't bother me at all.
That's what I was going to say. I wrote a note down in case we wanted to do kind of a where do we go from here video. But I think what you said earlier about a series, I think that's spot on. You could do one with Ana de Armas and Marsana Lynch as characters. Kind of working together, like being friends, MI6.
That would be sick.
But no, I think that could be a really good series. Is following those two on kind of on a spinoff, Amazon Prime style, doing these little missions together, kind of like Bond and Felix, MI6 and CIA. And that could really work. I think that's really, and that, so you could do that and allow this storyline, the same M to carry over, the same Moneypenny and all that stuff to continue. All these great characters that we've built up, Q, all these great characters we've allowed to build up over the last few movies, and still do something else with James Bond, completely not related, with a different set of story. I think that could really work. Honestly, I think that's what I would like to see them do at this point.
I mean, Madeline Swan. I mean, I think her character is probably too closely tied to Bond. But as far as like the female assassin characters, Paloma and Nomi, yeah, absolutely, man. I thought they were hella fun. They're one of the reasons I love the movie so much, and I could definitely dig into them having their own show.
You could even kind of say, hey, you want a female Bond? Well, this is the best you're going to get with it. Cause let them have their own TV series and all that, which I think that's great. And you could do that TV series as you're trying to figure out what you do next with James Bond, on who your actor is going to be, what the story's going to be. So that would be a good little break from the Bond character and just focus on the other characters that we do like and appreciate, and because they do deserve their own series.
Yeah, I think it could definitely work, because I that's one thing I don't like about wrapping. It's not that I don't like it. It's something I'm a little bit sad about as far as rebooting this franchise again with another Bond down the road, is what you're going to do with all these characters we've built up with M and Q. I really like Q as well, and Moneypenny. They've all been great. It might be a little weird bringing those characters back with a new Bond with the way this set of movies went, but in a series with these ladies running the show, I think that could absolutely work, and I think people could really get behind it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, especially bring in the American aspect into it, and try to introduce new characters for us to get behind as well.
Yeah, I think all those things could work, man. That could be hella fun. And it's kind of, Bond, and people are like, oh, why can't we have a female James Bond or whatever, and even Daniel Craig was like, why can't we just have strong female leads in this universe? James Bond is James Bond. Why don't we don't need to, try and change anything there. Let's just have more, to go around in this universe. And I think that would be perfect. That would be hella fun.
Yeah, absolutely, it does. And do y'all have anything else about this movie? I felt like we tackled a whole lot, and I don't think we missed anything major.
No, I don't think so, man. I'll tell you one of my favorite bits in it. When Q walks into the room and he's like, "Oh, 007, how are you? How have you been?" And M's like, "Cut the shit. We all know that he's staying with you."
Yeah,
that's one of my favorite things. My favorite lines in the whole movie.
Yeah, when they went to his actual house, he was making dumplings. He had that naked cat, and then Bond's like,
that music. He was playing that music, dude.
Yeah, and Bond's I'm pretty sure that thing had fur.
Yeah, they come with fur these days. Yeah. He said something like that.
Yeah, but no, I thought that was good. And Q knocked it out of the park again. I feel like the only one that really got held back this time was Moneypenny. But again, but she had her own thing in Skyfall. She had a role in Spectre, so she was allowed to take a back seat into this one.
Yeah, and I mean, she has a life to lead and all that shit. She's not really that much into the 00 life anymore or anything like that. So I get that. I just love Naomi Harris so much. I wish she would have got a little bit more to do there, but
at least there's Skyfall.
Yeah, and which honestly I did not know until I went to the theater the other night. I didn't know that she was in Venom.
I mean, I didn't either, dude. Yeah,
she played the vocal girl with the vocal power.
Yeah, Shriek.
Shriek, yes.
I don't know what the character's name is.
No, it's Shriek.
Yeah.
But she was in it, and I thought in that one she was just meh.
Yeah, she didn't have much to do, man. She was just kind of there, really as a side character, not much to do. So
yeah, and
she'll always be Tia Delma to me.
Oh hell yeah! And then I do remember one thing into this too. When Bond goes to his little garage, if y'all focus enough, was the little statue dog that Judi Dench left.
Yeah.
Yes, which I thought that was great. Yeah, and Brad, I know, dude, because I'm getting ready to say it. That freaking picture of M with Judi Dench on the wall was Even something else. But yeah, I was, like there were Judi Dench. Her presence was felt in this movie respectfully. But Brad, what's your big thing?
Well, they had the picture of Judi Dench's M, but they had the picture of the original M on the wall too, from the Connery era, which I thought was a cool callback to that.
I didn't know that.
But also, the car he gets out of that garage with the bulldog is once again the same car driven by George Lazenby in On Her Majesty's Secret Service at the end of the movie. When that finale happens. If you haven't seen it, I won't spoil it, but it's an epic, moment in the franchise. And I thought that another fantastic callback.
Hell yeah.
I got to finish it, man. I started that the other night, and I made it probably 30, 45 minutes in and fell asleep. And,
it's a little slow, but once they get up to the mountain, and it's one of my favorite Bond movies. Probably.
And I agree with Brad. It's very underrated.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually like Lazenby in the role quite a bit there.
Yeah, he does a good job.
He was doing a pretty good job. I don't think there's really not a whole lot left for us to talk about here, right? I mean, I think we've nailed all the big points. So
one more thing, okay?
Please,
they come in you never shoot the scientist, right? Like in GoldenEye, you don't shoot the scientist. Like you're going to fail the mission. But when the bad guys come in to steal the thing, they were blowing the scientist away. Just want to go ahead and throw that out there. It reminded me of GoldenEye Mission Number 2 for those who played that game.
All right, guys. So what is your rating for this bad boy? This one, I'm really looking forward to hear your all's rating on this, and kind of like last final thoughts about this movie. So, Chris, let's start with you, buddy.
I will say, I want to see this again because I want to give it a 5. My initial reaction is probably somewhere like in a 4.75. I'm going to say like it's that close. It's just shy of being perfect. And maybe it is. I really need to see it again before, maybe I could change the rating. But I'm going to stick with my gut and seeing it, sitting with it for a week or however long it's been. I think that I feel pretty confident about 4.75.
Okay.
And I would say I don't have any last thoughts. I just thought it might be kind of fun if we say who we think the next Bond should be.
All right, go ahead. Who do you think the next Bond should be?
Not really who you think is going to be the next Bond, but who you would like to see in there.
Okay, who do you think?
I'm going to say Tom Hardy. I think Tom Hardy could do a good job with it.
Yeah, we can pretty much skip that one because I sound like we all agree on Tom Hardy.
I will add a caveat. I will say Tom Hardy with Christopher Nolan directing it and Hans Zimmer coming back for the score.
Listen, dude, I won't even go. Man, that's not even, that's a porno to me, dude. I mean, that's going to be streaming in theaters and streaming on Pornhub the same day for me, dude. Because nothing on Pornhub is going to make me shoot more ropes than that, buddy. So let's go on.
Anyway,
let's go right on to Brad.
All right, Brad.
So you guys know, in my spoiler-free review, if you've seen that, I gave this movie a 5.0 out of 5, perfect score, and I've seen it again since then, and I stand by it, man. I think it's great. I mean, coming off of Spectre, this thing blew my. This was the first time. Let me just throw this out there. I've seen a lot of big releases over the years, a lot of highly anticipated releases, things that I've been counting down the days for years and years and years. I really don't know. Maybe Force Awakens to an extent met my expectations, but usually I leave a little bit disappointed. This thing not only met my expectations, but blew them out of the water with how good it was. I did not expect it to be nearly as good as it was, and it did. And it's a rarity for me to have such an anticipated movie and me coming out of it feeling surprised by how good it is. So yeah, 5 out of 5 for sure for me.
Alrighty, and this one, I am known to some people. I'm just being what we call too generous. So I really, before I didn't rate it immediately. I'm pretty sure I don't even put it on my letterbox yet because I was just really wanting to, take a whole week to think about what I just watched and to think if there's any negatives. There are absolutely no negatives. One little mix. Again, I want more De Armas in there because I enjoyed her character so much. But I don't think that would be fair to make it a 4.75 just because of a personal want like that. So take that out of the way. I am giving this movie, because it deserves it, a 5 out of 5, a golden reel for me. It's perfect. Like, it really is. It's like the perfect story of a final chapter to Daniel Craig's Bond. It's perfect in that manner, and I am surprised with myself. I did not give this a negative for it being too damn long. I think it is perfectly. It should have been the whole length time. There's not one thing I would cut out of it. So 5 out of 5.
I'd go for another 2 hours, man. I didn't get bored at all.
Yeah,
even on second watch, I was there. I had to take a piss in a theater. I'm sitting there like, I don't know when I can go. Like, there's at no point in this movie I feel like there's a good time for me to leave and take a piss. I did eventually. I had to take it during Felix's death because I couldn't take it again. But I just, it's good. I mean, the pacing is great.
Well, there we go, folks. Unfortunately, Chris once again fucks up another golden reel opportunity.
Hey, man, you know what did I say? I said, my gut feeling is a 5, it's a 4.75. But I feel like if I saw it again, maybe it could jump. It could bump up. I mean, how far off am I? I could call it a 5 if that's what you want. I mean, it's almost perfect to me.
We gotta keep. We gotta keep.
There are a couple of qualms that I have with it, but it's really just me being nitpicky. I mean, things that I just need to go back and see it again. Really, I mean, I've sat with it a little bit, but I need to go back and rewatch it. Just like I said about the Blofeld thing, obviously I overlooked that initially. And so I just need to watch it again. I mean, after all, it is 2 hours and 45 minutes worth of story to take in. You know what I mean? I mean, it's a lot. Not that I have an issue with the runtime. I really could have gone for 4.5 hours with the story because it was so good. But there's just a lot to take in. I mean, maybe I needed to give it another go. But either way, I mean, even with my 4.75, are we not staring at a?
We're staring at it, but we're not there. We're
extremely high. Yippee Ki Yay, motherfucker.
Yippee Ki Yay, motherfucker.
That is it. That is our spoiler discussion of James Bond: No Time to Die.
He dies.
I'm sorry.
Asshole. But no, what's coming next for our next video to finish this out is our Daniel Craig Bond ranking, where we rank all 5 of his movies. So get ready just to be on the lookout for that. So let's go ahead and close on out of here. So guys, what did you all think about No Time to Die? Did you think it was the perfect conclusion to Daniel Craig's Bond, and you think it's an absolute perfect movie and you loved it? Or do you have some problems with it where it just barely just is not what we call a perfect movie for you? Let us know in that comment section down below, and let's get that discussion rolling.
And if you want to help us fund the good reels, you can do so by finding us on Facebook, Instagram, Letterboxd, Instagram, Snapchat, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and TikTok. I fucked that up, but all those links are going to be down there below for you to find.
Yeah, and that's why we have it down below, just because Brad always fucks it up. But now I'm just kidding with you. And guys, be sure to like this video, share, and subscribe, and of course ring that bell, ding ding ding, so you know when the next video is up and ready.
That's right. And do it quickly, because as we've learned in No Time to Die, we don't have all the time in the world. Sometimes, I mean, we're all headed to an explosive death. So please, subscribe soon.
I better fucking get us out of here, because I'm about to. My heart can't take much more of it. So, anyways.
At least Daniel Craig went out with a bang.
That's right, Bubby.
Fucking pricks, I'm out of here.